And we've got now a presentation from Heiko. It's a lightning round talk. It's a proposal for a new gen Allotrope long-term storage container.
So this is about ADF. So we have this hasn't got too much attention in the recent past. So, but there are still some companies, some pharma companies we are working with, which are still interested in some long-term archiving format. So this one. So what's the ADF today? A bit slow. So if you remember, ADF is based on HDF5 as a data container. It consists of data description, data cube, and data package. Data description is based on an RDF graph. Data cubes is a very efficient binary format, which is provided by HDF5, where we put stuff, and then in the data package we put the original data files. For instance, from Overlap CDS, we can put our proprietary vendor files as a insurance, life insurance, if somebody still needs to get back to the original data. And then you have the ADF container audit trail, which keeps an audit trail about how the container was changed. So if you add files or remove files or change content, then this gets edited automatically. Then the access is based on Allotrope ADF API libraries. So since this has very basic structure, it's getting difficult to get these things in and out. So when you look at the drawback of the ADF today, first you have to learn and know about the RDF and Checkling format, which is not too easy if you're looking at the developer community. So it's a very innovative format, but I think in the meantime, with all the AI progress, I think there are also other means that you can store your data, which is in ASM today, and still make use of it without needing to have ADF or Checkling. Binary data basically is not an issue. So the other topic that is probably a hinting factor to make more successful is the API. Since within the API there is the Apache Gina framework covered, and then this makes it possible to access this via RDF Checkling. So you have to get it out via Checkling files or other, and basically that's already a high hurdle. So the idea was, when you look at the ADF ASM today, so this is based on JSON. What's not ideal is that the raw data is in the text format, so it results in large files, especially when you're going to mass spectrometry. You cannot put original files into it, and there is no audit trail. But it's ideal for transferring, so but not really for archiving. And so the idea was, why can't we merge these two concepts? So having a container which still keeps the concept of data description, data cubes, and data package. But for data description, why not use just the ASM, leverage it, since there is the same data available in ASM JSON as it is basically in the RDF tree. And then this prevents that you have to do this data description format twice. So one in the RDF format, the other one is the ASM. So why not put just the ASM as a data description replacement of the RDF graph? For the data cubes, we might, and then the other thing is, if you would separate out the binary data out of the ASM JSON, it would get smaller, and you could put it into the data cubes in one possibility might you can still keep JSON, but better would be to put the raw data in a binary format like ProtoBuf or something else. So, but that would separate the raw data from the data description, would make the ASM JSON contained in that container smaller, and you could just get the JSON out of it without needing to deserialize the raw data in the same step. The data description would still have some reference to the data cubes. And the idea is with such a container like open packaging convention, but there are maybe other containers which are useful for that, but I just picked that one. It's basically a zip container. Everybody can unzip zip container, can have a look into this container, so that's much easier to deal with compared to HDF5. So in that case, you could put the original data into a data package structure, and with that you would have a much more lightweight API that could even make open source. That's just a proposal. So to put it into that container, let me just show you how this could look like for the. So that's a graphical representation. Basically, it's the same structure, but with different technical means. And so what I will show you is some example. What I did is I took existing ASMs and then converted them into this ASM OPC structure, or whatever name we want to give it that way. Let me just show you how this could look like. So this is basically an Norton Commander clone, so which can look into the into the open packaging convention file. So this is the information was available as JSON as I've showed it before. So this is the folder with the two JSONs belonging to that sequence, and I converted that into this converter into this container. So you can see here there's a data cube, there's a data description, a data package. The data description contains for each of the single runs folder, or we could even put the JSON files in there. So within this, we have here the original JSON, but now having edit. But now within this JSON, there is not the data sorry, here there is no data cube in there anymore. So this is basically a reference to the data cube container within that package. So it says, okay, it's the data cube container which belongs basically here is stored in that ID, and that's with this relationship ID. And so you will find this data container here in this data cube. So this is the related data cube container. And as I said, so by now I have just extracted here the data cube from the JSON into that location, but this could be a binary format to better store it and with the numbers. And so this is the data cube container. And in the data package, you can put your original files. So in that case, these are the JSON, but from our perspective, it will then be the OpenLab CDS files. And the rest of it is metadata. So there's an audit log here. So this is something that could be designed how we need it. So this something like this. And you can make this tamper-proof. So there are checksums. You can put checksums into it, and then also sign the overall container. So there are means, for instance, with that approach, to make a container, which gives us the possibility to put in this, to use the same structure as it was available in ADF today, but with the techniques I have mentioned, like reusing ASM, having a much lightweight API, which is less costless, what is cheaper to maintain compared to the ADF, which is probably also easier to accept it by the developers who adopt this. And this was my talk. So this is just some inspiration that we can think about. Is there a need? Do others see a need to pick up the data for long-term archiving format again, and how we could make it easier to deal with the long-term archiving format?